there's a power within each of us. I think we're just so separated from it, but it's an opportunity to really dig deep and look within and stand your ground in your power as a woman, as a mother. If you know that you're meant to be a mother, if you feel in your heart that you are meant to be a mother, then there's nothing else to do. All the rest of it is just an appearance. And even there's a part of you that's always going to be afraid. There's a part of you that has all of these things. Just realize that's a part of you. That is not who you are. You are that strength. You are that power. And you can bring this child through you.
Well, this is such an unexpected, joyous conversation. A random happenstance meeting at the Sprouts Farmers Market, right?
Yeah.
My new friend, Drea. I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show. There we were at Sprouts Market, both of us standing there looking at the egg case going, what the heck now? There's no cartons of eggs on the shelf. Not one. Or there may have been one, but it was like...
Dude, it was a package of pre-boiled eggs, like one package of pre-boiled eggs already peeled, like sitting up there. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Right. Like, we're going to trust that. Right. But I was standing there and just kind of always running a little bit of a conspiracy theory, admittedly. Mm-hmm. But I noticed you doing the same thing. Like, you took a step back, and then I think I stepped in and said, yeah, and the raw milk is gone too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you said, those are the foods I use to get pregnant, or if I said something like, I work in fertility and I'm always teaching women that they need to have eggs to make eggs, and that the dairy fat is helpful and they want the probiotics. I don't even remember how it happened, but I just really zeroed in on you as a like-minded woman on the path. Yeah. But I didn't even expect that 2 weeks later we'd be sitting here and still there's no eggs on the shelf at our market. So an even bigger what the heck, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for coming here. I really loved your story. I'm not really sure where to start in on it, but you relayed that you knew that food was important. So then you said you had a couple of losses, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me your story in the context of you had one child, you conceived him pretty easily.
Oh yeah. My first one, I conceived him 6 months after my mom passed away.
You were how old?
I was 33, right before I turned 34, basically. I conceived him right before I was 34. I had been with my partner for like over 8 years. We weren't married. I was just like, oh, well, we'll start a family in a couple years. We weren't quite ready. I want everything to be like perfect. It was like, okay, like our finances have to be in order. We have to have this and that, like all laid out. And like years were going by and that wasn't really happening. But my mom passed away and I was like, I had a 2-year plan. I was like, okay.
Sometime in the next 2 years, now that I'm not taking care of my mom.
Now that I'm not taking care of my mom, I'm going to take some time to take care of myself. And like in 2 years, I was finishing up a teaching credential. And I was like, okay, I'll get established in that. In a couple of years, we'll start our family. So I started watching all these shows on TLC about like giving birth in birthing centers, and like I was like recording it, like coming home like after my internship and like watching it. And my partner was just like, what are you doing? It's like, no, 2 years, you know, I have to be prepared. Like it takes me this long to get prepared for something. And then I remember it was like May, it was the first Mother's Day. And I went to Agape. My husband and I go to Agape International Spiritual Center.
Mm-hmm, which we have that in common too, which was so funny. Right? Yeah. And I'm glad we're shouting it out because that spiritual piece finds its way into this journey.
Yes.
So you were already on a spiritual path?
Yeah, definitely. I was on a spiritual path and we started really going to Agape like when my mom got sick, like the couple of years before she had gotten sick, and it really helped bring me peace. And for that whole process, it was a really long, painful thing to have to sit back and just kind of watch someone slowly
transition.
Yeah, slowly transition. So I'm sitting there and Reverend Mike's talking about taking on the motherhood, the hood of the mother, and like standing instead for spirit and all of that. And like all of a sudden I just felt like energized, like, yes, I think I'm finally ready to be a mom. I'm ready. I still have my 2-year plan, but like, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And then sure enough, a couple of weeks later, like I was going out of town, like, you know, like, okay, I'm going to be gone for a week. Her partner was asleep. I'm like, I'm going to be gone for a week. And just a spontaneous, like, let's, you know, join together before I leave. And I conceived my son that way. Completely not expecting, not trying. We're doing our regular old lazy.
Connecting before you take off.
Yeah, connecting before we take off. And, you know, we weren't trying, but that's what happened. All of a sudden, I found myself pregnant, you know, 6 months after my mom passed. I was in the middle of grieving and everything else. But it was a wonderful pregnancy. It was super easy. Like,
I can't tell you, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but so many times, whether it's a parent or a pet, it's like they leave, and I swear they go into spirit world and they hand over a baton to this baby, this spirit of this other being that's next. And that readiness factor can't be faked, but it's a change in your vibration and your frequency that you're sending out that is like, I don't have the same fears that I once did, or I'm at peace. And so it's like a safe place to land. Something like that changes. Or like, I just finished nurturing and I know what death looks like. And I've watched these shows, so I'm less scared of what birth is going to look like. And therefore I'm ready enough, something like that. So I do love how you're validating this idea of making space from having something that was there before and now it's something different.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a beautiful thing. It was unexpected. And it was all on a subconscious level because I was just like, oh, he was just like rogue sperm. I didn't expect him to come. And my husband was just like, well, my now husband, of course, because we immediately got married. Yeah. It was just like, oh, no baby mama for me. Like, you know, he knew that up front. Like, I'm not going to be anyone's baby mama. So, but we've been together for 22 years now. So,
oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long time.
This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So then that pregnancy was pretty effortless.
Oh, it was effortless.
And
I had a home birth in the water. Like, I mean, literally the only thing that happened was like a couple of weeks before he was born, my ankles got a little swollen.
Okay.
Like, it was so
that's
easy
pretty
peasy.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because we're going to talk about diet and the importance of food, were you
See, afterwards I started switching up my diet. See, that's what happened. When I was a pescatarian when I had him because I had switched.
When you conceived him?
When I conceived him.
So
and I continued being a pescatarian.
Fish.
So I was eating fish and yogurt and eggs and like everything. I just kind of cut out the beef, pork, and the chicken.
Okay.
But then like I got more into like the idea of being vegan. And after I breastfed him and everything else and he started eating food, I was like, maybe we should turn vegan.
Turn vegan?
Yeah.
With a little toddler?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to ask you a question first, though, before you tell me what that looked like. When you were conceiving him, unknowingly getting ready to conceive him, were you having a lot of soy protein? Tofu?
No, I think I had some, but I was still kind of leaning on the fish, to be honest with you. So it was a lot more.
See, now I don't know you at all.
Yeah.
You never did my online courses.
Yeah.
So that is what I find so fascinating with you is that you somehow started just naturally thinking, I want to eat differently. I don't want to. Were you a big meat eater before making that switch?
No, I wasn't a really big. I ate meat, but I didn't cook it that much. I was much better at fish. So like it was a lot more fish in our diet and everything else. And we were doing other yoga things. So that's what kind of was going on. We're doing like a Nana Marga yoga and they're really big on being vegan. And so it was kind of like.
Yeah. So your intermediate step when you conceived him as pescatarian seemed like, okay, this is right for me for now. But then as you went further through it, you thought, I don't need to even eat any kind of flesh or animal products.
Yeah.
So did you feel like, okay, I guess just making the choice for your son that to not give him meat, that was just the right thing because he was your kid and he was going to be raised in your spiritual home?
Yes. So it felt like the right thing at the time. And I've had chronic migraines like my whole life. So I've always been kind of playing with diet and seeing what I should take out, what I should, trying to play around with to figure out that whole situation.
Because food can make us pretty sick.
Yeah.
And so you started thinking, maybe I can use food to feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did an elimination diet, and after I did the elimination diet, I felt a little bit better. And I just I never added back in the eggs because I was like, oh, I feel okay. So that's kind of how the eggs fell away. And so it's like kind of things kind of fell away, and it's like, okay. And then the cheese fell away. It's like from that.
Do you think you were leaning heavy in grains and sugar? Because I notice some of my friends, if they go into a vegan diet, then the loss of protein means that they want more quick, simple sugar stuff.
Yeah. Well, the first few years I was home with him. So the sugar stuff, I've always kind of stayed away from sugar because I know that's not really good for inflammation, the migraines, everything. But it was really grain heavy. Like I do quinoa and rice, but like lots of beans, rice, lentils, so very grain heavy, yes.
Okay. So. And using the grains, you would have made an ample supply of milk, presumably?
Yes.
Okay. So I would see how you would think that was okay.
Yeah.
Healthy even, and the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so then fast forward, what ends up happening on your journey?
No, fast forward a few years go by, I started getting a hankering for having another child. And then now my son's getting older, and he's like probably about 3 or 4, and he's asking for it. First he said he wanted a big sister. And I'm like, well, that's not possible.
Order.
You can't do that. But you can have it would have to be a little sister. He's like, oh, well, I'm having a little sister. And then he was 110% convinced. He's like, no, I'm supposed to have a little sister. That's what it is. She's going to come.
When they're 3-ish, they start channeling information, or they tell us things because they're not quite I don't even know the terms for this, but I noticed with both of my kids when they were 3 years old, some of the things that they said seemed so divine. So here he is telling you.
Oh, and we call him our little guru because we have to remember sometimes, now he's about to be 13, but we have to remember, oh, he's still a kid, because sometimes he just says the most inspire things at the most random times. How did you know that was going on? And so he's part of this journey, bringing forth our daughter as well.
Okay.
So so time's going by, he was in a co-op, and I was getting more comfortable with the idea, because I was always resistant a little bit to have it. I wanted a second kid, but there was something within me that didn't feel now worthy to having. It's I didn't feel like I could. I wasn't sure if I was going to be enough. It was just this.
Sounds like a little bit of a deficiency. Now, I find when we get past the pains and we look back, it's so obvious. And me barely knowing you, I can really see it objectively. And I'm thinking, I wonder what happens if we don't have the strength of some of the protein and nourishment that food has always provided us as humans, where on some level you were nutritionally inadequate, but it was being perceived as not enough.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And it's funny because my husband always points this out. Because the whole time I was pregnant with Emerson, my first, I'd have these hankerings for In-N-Out, just an In-N-Out burger. But I was like, I don't eat meat anymore. I don't eat meat anymore. And I kind of denied that whole thing. So fast forward, we decide first he didn't want one. And then we kind of got on the same page. It's okay, we're ready to have another one. Time's gone by. This is the time to do it. And things don't have to be perfect. We can do this. So as soon the first right out the bat, got pregnant right away that. And I kind of expected that because I got pregnant with Emerson so easily.
You declared it. I'm ready.
Yeah, we declared already.
Enough.
And by now, this is 2018. So it's been about 2013. We have started. So about 5 years of being vegan now. And I got pregnant right away, and I had a loss. And it took me completely. I didn't expect it at all because everything was so smoothly the first time around. And then the pregnancy just came as soon as we were on the same page, boom, pregnant. And then for that loss to happen. And I was experiencing it over Mother's Day. It started right before Mother's Day. So I'm in bed that Mother's Day. And I was just completely devastated, just completely devastated. And then ironically, 6 weeks later, got in a car accident. Well, all of us did, but we were on the 405 at a complete standstill. I'm like twisting around, having conversation with Mike, my husband. I just get slammed from the back by 2 cars, like rear ended. So now I have like a back problem. It turned into fibromyalgia. And like, so it just, yeah. But from there, trying to get pregnant again, it took 6 months again before, well, almost, yeah. So that loss was in May, and then I got pregnant again in December. But in between that, I had started changing my diet a little bit because the migraines were still happening. And I don't even remember who, but from somewhere, like, I just remember someone telling me that, like, I'm O positive, you should have like meat, And after I had that loss, I was like, well, maybe I should have a little bit of meat. Like, it was just, I don't even know where it came from. I was like, I should probably loosen up on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I know that blood type diet. There's, I think, something to it. Yeah. Okay. So you put in a little bit of meat, and then what happened?
Yeah. Then I kept having losses though. So I would get pregnant really easily, but I kept having losses. And I actually, like right before that second pregnancy, I'm always doing things with the migraines. And I think someone mentioned the Gerson diet, and somehow the internet's my friend, and I ran into like Dr. Budwig, and I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but like she's a German doctor who treated cancer a lot, and her whole thing was like getting rid of oils and seed oils and the importance of like good fats. So then I started like eliminating all of the because by now I was like leaning more towards vegan junk food because my child was a little older, and like that whole thing, you kind of start slipping as far as like the cooking the meals every day and everything else. Started looking like, oh wow, there's a lot of seed oil in here. So I started eliminating the seed oil. And
so for listeners, when you say seed oil, I know what you mean. Yeah. But you mean like sunflower, safflower?
Sunflower, safflower, canola, anything that's besides like olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil.
Yes, this is like stick to those 3.
Yeah.
Because the other ones are really processed, and the body doesn't know how to assimilate and benefit from them, and it creates inflammation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. So then it was just kind of slowly I would just kind of come across information or kind of remember little things that I would hear here and there, and just decide, okay, like I need to kind of make this shift. So then I started introducing more salmon. So then like as a family, and I was just like, and my son was getting older, and I started like worrying about, like, I don't think he's getting enough omega-3. And we had like the little vegan supplements, and I was like, I'm not sure about this. Let's just go to source. I can find some wild caught salmon now, you know what I mean? And start kind of like incorporating that into our diet. And then I think the eggs started to come back because I just thought about, like, why am I not eating eggs?
Right. Nobody's killed in an egg.
Yeah. And I was like, and I was doing a lot of research, and I understand like vegans don't like, but I never got a straight answer. It's like, no one's ever told me why eggs are not good for you. Like I cannot find a solid answer. So let me just start eating eggs again. And like, I felt better. Like I know it's like, oh no, I feel better. Like incorporating these things. Like, and it was like a little mental thing because like I don't like getting dogmatic. I realized I was getting dogmatic about certain things, like just getting so used to fixed into my ways and like being vegan and this is better. And I was like, well, is this really true? And I have to experiment with it, and it's experiential. So.
Yeah, I have a memory from 2009 because I launched the SEED program initially as a live workshop in 2010. And Harvard had released a study that said something to the effect of, if you want to get pregnant, then you need to bulk up your intake of eggs and whole fat dairy. So I think it's here. Yeah, here's a picture from one of the covers, one of the pages inside this Newsweek magazine, Fertility and Diet, how what you eat affects your odds of getting pregnant. So as soon as I started teaching it live, then Whole Foods stopped selling raw milk. So I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm telling these women to go find this. And luckily the farmer's market would still sell it. Sprouts wasn't around at that time, but women would find it somehow. Bristol Farms had it. So it was very controversial to tell women to go back to eating more traditional food, but Harvard knew there was something to it. It's just that some of the ultra pasteurized milk, we're not digesting it, right?
Yeah.
It creates inflammation.
Yeah.
And as far as the eggs go, you and I'm sure, agree that the way that they're treating those chickens, the energy of that goes into those eggs.
Yeah. And that was a big thing of why I was vegan. I realized in the first place, I kind of turned vegan because I was looking how the animals were treated. And I was like, there's no way I'm getting proper nutrition out of this.
Yeah.
And like at the time, like way back, I couldn't really like, they didn't have that much grass-fed beef, and like it wasn't as available, it wasn't as affordable and everything. So I kind of like just like hung it up. And so like now time has passed, I'm like, okay, I can actually get pasture-raised eggs. Like, so I'm strict about that still. Like only like, except for now.
They want to know that those chickens have room and that they're treated humanely and that they're great, that they're eating.
Yeah. Because that's why I stopped eating beef, because I was like, what's the point of eating this cow that's eating genetically modified corn, that's like getting pumped full of hormones to stay alive? I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But I'm not in that situation now. I'm in a situation where I can actually get a cow that actually gets to like roam and eat grass. And isn't that the whole point of eating a cow? Is because it eats grass, right? It's not that it eats something that's making it die.
Or byproducts.
Or byproducts and all the other things they pump
antibiotics. Exactly. So thinking about what you're putting into your body, because you're already pretty clear on how what you think affects how you feel.
Yeah.
So you decided, okay, I'm going to bring in eggs, and you started feeling better.
Yeah.
And then?
Well, I still had I actually had in total 4 losses. So,
and were they all early losses?
They were all early losses. I think the longest one I went was like almost 6.5 weeks.
Okay, so still pretty early, and that would be really within age what to what?
I was 40 to 41, because I was 40. The first loss happened like right before, when I was 40, before I turned 41. Then I turned 41, and then I started I had more losses. So, the second loss that I had was in like December. What year are we in? 2018. Yeah, it was December 2018, and then I had another one in April 2019. And so I started going to acupuncture, but I had to go to a clinic, and so I wasn't going to a fertility specialist. It was just acupuncture in general, just to kind of regulate my hormones type of thing. And that's
right. I think you went to the school, right? The acupuncture
Oh, no,
school?
it was someone else. Like, I didn't even go to the school because I found someone who was like even cheaper than the school.
Oh, nice. Okay,
who had like
great.
a sliding scale fee.
Great.
And so I was going to her for a while. And then after my third loss, I feel like, after my fourth loss, my husband was like, let's find a specialist.
So did you see out like a doctor's opinion of what was going on?
I have.
Did you get a diagnosis?
A horrible HMO insurance. So like I was going to what's it called? They specialize, like the reproductive endocrinologist. Yeah. So I went there and they gave me like the battery of tests that like the HMO covered and everything. They just didn't know. And they were basically just like,
it's your age.
It's your age. It's probably just your eggs. You could just keep trying. At least you get pregnant. Just keep trying.
It's a gamble, or it's a numbers game.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, and keep going. And that was just kind of their advice: is a numbers game, keep going. I, on my own, have to add. I just highly recommend that everyone advocate for themselves, because I'm trying to figure this out myself, because I'm not feeling comfortable with their just like, it's like there has to be something behind it. So I was worried about my hormone levels, because I noticed that my cycles were getting like a little shorter, and I was paying attention to when I was ovulating. So I noticed that like my luteal phase was like kind of short. I was wondering about my progesterone. So, I asked the doctor to test, and she didn't really know, but at least at the time I had a doctor who was willing to listen. And so I figured, like, I found on the internet the best time to test for progesterone, to see my progesterone levels. So I had them test it, and she did it like the way I asked her to. And they came back, and I remember they were like one notch above what it said was the very minimum that you needed to maintain a pregnancy.
So you knew you were kind of probably dropping.
Yeah. So I knew that like it's probably a progesterone issue, like especially since I'm getting pregnant, but then they're just, they're not sticking. So I'm going to UCLA at this point, like the UCLA reproductive endocrinologist and everything else. And I mentioned this and they're like, oh no, they did a study. And I don't think they even did a study on people who had low progesterone. It was just a generalized study, whatever. And it shows that progesterone only helped with 2% of people. So we won't prescribe you any progesterone.
Right.
And I'm like, this is like, I'm not a big drug person, but this has like there's only an upside. There's no downside to the progesterone, but they refused to actually give me any progesterone. So I went on my own and like found the best over the counter and like sifted through all these studies to try to find out like how much, so I could try to like estimate how much I should be getting. Like I don't even know how I did the calculations, but I somehow got enough information to kind of sort of figure it out myself and was administering it myself.
Yeah. I call it the empowered self-advocate.
Yeah.
Becoming your own doctor.
Yeah. And
like a mad scientist in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So it kind of suggests that it was down a little bit because of age, maybe down a little bit because of nutrition, and because of the lack of eggs and nutrients that might have been happening. Those follicles may not have been properly maturing, so they were kind of small and secreting a minimal amount of progesterone to begin with. So was that a shift for you?
Yeah,
when you started
started over a counter. So I feel like that was probably right around when I started going to see the acupuncturist as well. And I let her know like what I was doing. And she's like, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, right.
And I let her know, it's like, okay, I'm eating more like beef. She's like, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? I'm like eating more.
As acupuncturists, we put it into two categories: yin tonics, so like things that build your estrogen, and yang tonics, so like things that will support progesterone, thyroid hormone, testosterone. Okay.
Yeah, and also I had low thyroid too. So
so we would diagnose you with a yang deficiency. Yeah. So you would be somebody who really needs a little bit of high quality meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I was already on that tip. So I'd let her know like when it's like, these are the changes that I'm making right now. And she was like, okay, those are all good ideas. Yes, do that. And
must have felt good to have an ally.
Yeah, it was really great. And I mean, shout out to her. She was great. Denise Weisner.
Oh, she's been on the show.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, she's really great. Like she was really great. And, you know, she says, oh, you did this yourself. I didn't have anything to do with it. But just having that sounding board of like knowing like, oh, I am doing the right thing just really helped empower me and feeling like I had that support. And then the Chinese herbs that she gave me like really did help support everything. I felt like it was like a part of the missing puzzle. And then on top of that, I was just doing growth work on my own because I realized there's probably a spiritual component to all of this. And meanwhile, while I'm having all of these losses, my son, I'm not telling him about it. Like I would tell him after the fact because I didn't want it, you know, the first time I didn't tell him, and then I had a loss, and I had to tell him I had a loss because I was going to the emergency room with all of these losses and whatnot. And it's funny because he had this little baby doll that we got him because after he got out of preschool, he said that he wanted a doll because he played with the dolls at preschool. And so we got him a doll, and it's hilarious how he plays with a doll. He plays with a doll like a little boy plays with a doll. Like he takes her.
So nurturing.
Yeah, but not really. He just takes her. He holds her, says, she's hungry. Here, mommy. She needs to go sleep. Here, mommy.
It's so cute.
But he would just every day pick her up like, oh, here you go, mommy. It's like a thing. So, but it was freaky because after like I'd get pregnant every time I'm pregnant, and I wouldn't tell him, he'd pull out this doll. And it was like he wouldn't play with her very much. And he like asked me what I was going to name her. And I like was like, I'm going to name her Eleanor. And he's like, okay, this doll is Ella. This is my Ella doll until my real Ella comes. And he wouldn't play with her much. But every time there was a loss, he was pulling out that doll, playing with that doll.
What the heck?
And it's like, what the heck? Right. So when I was on the final loss, the fourth loss, and by now, you know, I have more time of having changed my diet some, incorporating some more of these healthy fats and some more protein into my diet. I'm like, okay, this one's going to stick. And we're out of town visiting my dad. And my son and I were taking a walk, and he says, Mommy, I had a dream. And it's like, what happened? Okay, what happened? It's like, I had a dream that Eleanor came and she said, I'm sorry, but I can't come right now. And I was like, what? And she like, oh, tell me, like, okay. And I like got so nervous. I'm like, this is just a kid. Like, hear him. I was like, yeah, she told me that she's going to come, but she just, something's holding her back right now. It's not quite time. She's not ready, but she'll come. Don't worry, but she can't come right now.
What did you do with that information?
Oh, I just like took a deep breath. Like, oh, she's just a kid. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And sure enough, 3 days later,
you started bleeding.
I started bleeding. So like, yeah, like the day after I go confirm everything's okay.
You were using progesterone, taking Chinese herbs, eating meat. And okay. And so
this is right before I went to the specialist, because after this loss, I went to the specialist after this loss. I was just doing the regular Chinese herbs. Like, yeah.
And you would have been like 41?
Yes. This was right before I turned 42.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now I feel like the time constriction and everything else, but so, okay. And coincidentally, my husband had signed up and he was going to go to Wachuma, a plant medicine ceremony.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go because I was pregnant, of course, but then I had the loss. And this was right around my birthday too, when I had the loss. So I had the loss like 3 days before my birthday. And then 3 days after, there was this plant medicine ceremony. So I decided to go. Mm-hmm. And that was a really great healing experience for me too, because I just realized there was all this fear and all this sadness around all of these losses. And I would tell myself it's okay because at least they didn't get very far. But everyone was just like, this hope and all this, like you had all this hope and all these prayers just like answered, and then it was just taken away.
In Chinese medicine, we say that fear sinks, where like fire, it flares upward and worry goes in a looping circle, but fear actually sinks. So for you to be in that plant medicine ceremony, to realize that fear is what's holding you back, and to have these sinking, these losses just falling out, essentially. So the fear would be tied up in being enough for an added, in addition to the family, or?
Well, it's just like fear of not, it's like realizing that you can have what you want, and realizing that you're good at, like, that I'm worthy enough to have what I want. And then like having that taken away is always like this fear that this other shoe is always going to drop, and this is just going to kind of keep being what it is, and not having any control over it, because.
So a fear of not being able to control your own destiny, sort of.
Yeah. And watching my own body, feeling kind of betrayed by my body. Like, why is this happening? Not knowing, doing the best that I can, but just watching it just over and over again, and feeling like my time was running out, because by now I'm 42.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So in a plant medicine ceremony, I know some side effects of plant medicine would be like vomiting, crying. Did you feel in that ceremony moment that there was some divine intervention or something that helped you to reconcile the fear?
There was. I had this experience where, and I didn't read about it ahead of time, so I didn't know what to experience or anything like that. Like, I had some nausea, but it wasn't a big deal. I was compelled to go. It was a really nice place where we were at, and they had this beautiful bathroom. And I was compelled to go in the bathroom and look in the mirror. And usually on these things, you do not look in the mirror.
Right.
You do not look in the mirror.
Right. Yeah, that's what they say.
But I felt like drawn, and I would look in the mirror, and I would stand there. And it was like watching, I say Satanama, like birth, death, regeneration, rebirth. I was like watching myself get old, like decay, die, and come back. And it wasn't necessarily me, another face. And it would go young, age, old, decay. And it kept happening over and over again. Just like watching myself be born and die and reborn, and like in the mirror. And it was extremely intense.
Yeah. Did you start to feel like you had this awareness that you're just gonna shed layers of yourself and go deeper within yourself? Or
that it felt like it was this weird reassurance. I feel like intellectually, I wasn't sure if I've done this same thing over and over again, or if there's just a different version of this that I've done over and over again. But it was this knowing that everything's going to be okay. This is just the process of going about life. And it's just a death, birth, regeneration, and just to be okay with it. You are okay. This will be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, you will survive and you will thrive, and this will keep going, and it's just making you stronger and stronger. And there's nothing to fear, not even death, because you will be reborn.
Mm-hmm. So just a side note, I had a lung puncture in 2020 that dropped my oxygen so quickly that I had a near-death experience. And having seen like a light, I was like, am I going to the light today? And this voice said, no, you're already in the light, and the light is inside of you, and there's no getting off the ride. It's just going to be like, you're going to go through some hard times, and there are going to be some light times and some hard times. Very similar. Yeah. Like, everybody wants to poo-poo spiritual stuff, but there's so much personal development and growth that comes through that just, I think, weathers us and makes us stronger to be able to handle things that are happening next. We just last week, we're still waiting for fires to be contained. Yeah. And there's so many different metaphors that are coming out of that. But these layers of a snakeskin and cocoon and caterpillars and metaphors and transformations, that's not religion. That's like lifing. And that's something to embrace, that if it can be used for self-soothing, that's going to calm the nervous system. And a calmer nervous system is going to affect the eggs and the hypothalamus and the way that the ovaries work. It's just a very interesting thing. And I love hearing your process. So I'm going to be quiet and hear some more.
Yeah. No, but so that was just, I felt there was a shift after that. Like, there was just more of a calm, like, within myself of like, okay. And also, like, that is a big key too. But for me, it was just being able to, they say life is about this balance of like not clinging, but deciding what you want, like as co-creators, like deciding what you want to create, but being flexible, knowing that it will come the way it comes. You're not in control of that. So it was also like this whole letting go of control while being steadfast in my determination to manifest, because I knew this was happening. It felt like a spiritual calling. It wasn't just like, oh, I want another child. It was like this deep soul calling. Like, I knew the spirit was trying to come in through, and I wanted it through me, and I thought it was going to be through me, but all the evidence was pointing to the contrary with all of these losses and all of the struggle that I had. So I had to kind of really dig down in myself and not only help myself understand that I can have what I want, and I'm worthy of having what I want, and standing in that power, but also just kind of, on the one hand, being open and available to her coming through however she's meant to come through. And then while simultaneously being like, she's coming through me. Like, I refuse to live in a world where she doesn't come through me, and I'm open and available to however spirit wants her to come through.
It sounds kind of like you're honoring that you had a knowing of this, but you have another knowing too, that ultimately you're not in control.
Yes.
We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So as much as your human self was able to hold on to a vigilant, like, want her to come through me, you knew that you had to just kind of ultimately surrender to a bigger process.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So I was like,
I know it myself with respect to having my daughter the way that I did. It was not any way in the way I wanted it to be. Yeah. But anyway, she made it here and it's all good. But so what ended up happening next?
So that was in July. So I started seeing Denise, and we were doing the acupuncture, and I was just kind of surrendering, learning how to ride that line of, surrendering, but being steadfast in my knowing. And yeah, so at some point, as soon as
knowing and allowing,
I forgot this part. When I came, that last miscarriage that I had, I came back, and my husband was actually at a Vipassana retreat.
Yoga.
A yoga. Well, no, Vipassana is a meditation. It's a 10-day silent. So for everyone who doesn't know,
retreat.
Vipassana is a 10-day silent yoga, silent meditation retreat where you do not speak, you do not read, you do not write, you do not do any exercise beyond walking around a little meditation garden and meditating from like 4 a.m. until very, very late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an agape licensed spiritual practitioner. So he's been meditating. So this was his jam. And he while we were back east visiting my folks, he went and did this, but it was overlapping so that I came home before he did. So I'm in bed miscarrying when he comes home from the Vipassana retreat. And as soon as he walks in the room and looks at me, he says, "I'm so sorry. I knew." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, I had a dream." So the day that I started bleeding, that night he had a dream that had a miscarriage. And it's like, and he gently, because he'll suggest things to me all the time. I just don't listen to him. But he gently is like, I had a really great time I really suggest that you do this meditation retreat. I know you're not as big into meditation as I am. And I listened. He was so surprised. Like, soon as to sign up for it, you have to be there at exactly the right time online because it's really hard to get into. And I signed up for the next meditation retreat. So that ended up being at the end of October. So Denise advised me to take a break. So we purposely were trying not to get pregnant. And I think that last one, I went ahead and had a DNC. They said I didn't really need it, but I was like, I feel like I need to clean everything out. And I was doing my herbal detox and doing it, but I was like, let's just start anew. I'm pretty old. I'm not worried about having, my time's running out. I have my one DNC now. And
I love it. I love hearing from women that hear an information, they hear some guidance and then they make it happen, or they follow that through line. Yeah. Okay. So here we've got a clean slate.
Yeah, we have a clean slate. I'm taking my progesterone, you know what I mean? I'm having I'm getting the support from the acupuncture from a specialist who is really supportive and nurturing and just on our side. And my husband's involved in this too. He went to the at least the initial appointment with me and everything. And so he's just really steadfastly holding the space and just being that strong presence that strong loving presence that I really need.
Masculine.
Yeah.
Presence,
that
which
masculine.
is the yang,
Yeah.
which is where your diagnosis would be a yang deficiency.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was really holding that space for me. And I went on the Vipassana retreat at the end of October. And that was amazing. I didn't think I would. It sounded like torture. It was one of the, I realized if there's something that I really, really don't want to do, I should probably do that.
We all need to listen to that part. It's true. Yeah, those things that we want to avoid more than anything. It's the best thing for us, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done a 10-day silent retreat. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
You really get restored.
Yeah. I got restored. But a lot of anger and irritation, a lot came up. And it was a good thing.
A lot came up for you to look at.
Yes. A lot came up for me to look at, basically. And I had no choice but to look at it because there was nothing else to do.
No way of distracting yourself from yourself.
Yeah. There's nothing else to do but to look at it. Just sit there and look at it and watch it come up and feel it come up and everything else. So it was just great. And then I'm home for barely a week and driving my son to karate on Sepulveda at a standstill at a red light, and bam, rear-ended again.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I don't know what that's about, but
I don't either. So then what happened?
So then the next month I just got pregnant. I didn't worry about it. I was like, I don't know what this is about. My back's messed up, but whatever. I'm just going to
give into it.
Just give into it. This is what happened.
I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I've looked fear in the face and I've known disappointment and loss. And so let's just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens. Yeah.
And was that the one?
That was the one.
Ella?
And it was a divine, I know when I conceived her. Because I'm paying attention. Right now I'm an expert, because in between all this, I'm reading about anything and everything you want to know about, carrying a baby past the age of 40. I knew about, I was reading studies, everything else. So I knew exactly what was going on. And by now we're just I was less, because before I was real this is damn, I'm really, but by now I'm just, I'm going with the flow. Like, I'm kind of aware when I'm ovulating or whatever, but I'm not pressing the issue. If I'm not feeling it, like a romantic, if we're not feeling connected like that, then we're not doing it. So like there was one day in particular, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm ovulating a little early. And like, I had very obvious signs that ovulation was coming. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I'm going to chill out. Like, we'll see, whatever. And just that night, like, my husband and I just had this connection. Like, he initiated. I didn't initiate anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I knew,
like,
but I
hey,
just...
I got this positive on my test
but I was
kit.
like feeling whatever. I was like, didn't say anything. Just like went with the flow. And like, he initiated. And we just had this magical
connection.
Yes. Like, as David Data was saying, it's intimate communion. Like, it was just mind blowing. Like, it was mind blowing. And like afterwards, he's like, that did it. It's like, yeah, that went, and that
time worked.
Yeah, he's like, that's definitely. And I didn't tell him that I was like either, but he was just like, oh no, that's the one.
Oh, they know somehow.
Yeah. He's like, just very kind of, that's the one. It's like, okay. And I'm still kind of like nervous, but he's just holding the space like, oh no, that was the one. I know it.
They do somehow know. They know the gender. They know the when. They know. Yeah. They, like the dream, he knew that it was slipping away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So that's such a great story.
So fast forward, like a couple of weeks later, like, cause I mean, a couple of weeks later, my cycle's, I'm like, okay, waiting. I'm going to, of course, test. So this is a Wednesday. I'm walking home from school with my son, Emerson. And he's like, Mommy, I had a dream. I was like, oh, really? It's like, yeah. Eleanor's coming. She came and she said that she's coming. She's coming and she's going to stay this time. Don't worry.
Oh, my gosh. I love this.
And I was just like goosebumps. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, like, really? Someone was like, oh, yeah, no. And he was just so excited about it. I was like, oh, yeah, she's coming. She's going to stay. She said, so sorry it took her so long, but this is the right time. And she's going to stay and not to worry and tell Mommy not to worry. And that was Wednesday. And then Saturday morning, I happened to like wake up with a full bladder. It was like super early, but I was like, I'll try anyway. And that line was like, boom. And I was so excited to tell my husband. I was like, totally forgot. I left the test like sitting in the bathroom. And I'm like, Mike is like, yeah, I saw the test. I told you.
I love this. Oh my gosh. And so effortless, kind of like Emerson.
Yes. Yes.
He got his dream sister. And she's how old now?
She's 4 now.
Okay.
Oh, and she's quite a
strong spirit.
Oh, a very strong spirit. Like, oh.
But look how she has you with a spiritual strength. And we don't even know yet what you're going to need that for, or where and how you're going to impart that wisdom to her. I have Kira, who she'll be having her menses and or crying or something, and she'll say, but it is day 5, so it kind of makes sense that I would be releasing or that I'd be crying a lot today. So they do get that wisdom. But if I had conceived Kira in my early 30s, when my reproduction was supposed to be at its height, instead of at 37, when I did, after helping several hundred, maybe 1,000 other women, she would probably not have that same wisdom because I wouldn't have been forced to learn it.
Oh, yes. We're so grateful for the time. It's just so strange. It didn't, had I planned it, it wouldn't have been this, but this is just so perfect. Like she ended up, I got through my first trimester, like right after I got through my first trimester, COVID happened. Like, and there was the lockdowns and everything else. But that ended up being such a blessing for our family. My husband was actually able to stay home because usually, like, he's an editor and a filmmaker, so he's usually working. He's usually just gone. Like, you know what I mean? Home in the like late evenings, see him on the weekends, but he was able to be there for my pregnancy. And and we're all stuck in our little apartment, but we just grew so close as a family. We grew so close as a family, and it was just so much laughter, and so much joy that we had together. And he was there, I had a birth in a birthing center. It went perfect. I found the perfect midwife for me that I didn't have to worry about the birthing situation. Like, it was just, I had a natural birth, no IV, in a tub, no mask, none of that nonsense. It was just wonderful. Just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And just having him home that whole time to bond with her and like as a family. And it was rough because it turns out she has a sensory processing disorder, and she couldn't get the milk out of my breast. So then I had to she had a tongue tie too. So we had all of that in the middle of COVID and the fires because that's last time we had bad fires, like, was over by my birthing center. So it was kind of a mess, but it was just such a wonderful experience. And even with the whole pumping, like, I just had like my son and my husband just like supporting me through this like crazy time of like getting up in the middle of the night. And I did it for 2 years. It was craziness. But
appreciation for it because it had slipped through your fingers so many times.
It slipped through. It was the least I could do for her. Like, I just felt like, at any point I could have given her like formula, but I could produce the milk. So I felt like it was my obligation to get it out and get it to her.
Get up in the middle of the night and do the thing because you knew you were strong enough to do it.
And I've been through so much. I'm like, I can do this.
Right.
I can do anything.
Get up and pump after. Yeah, no kidding. So for the listeners out there, with your story being so inspiring and self-directed, that's why I wanted to talk to you and record it. But what would you like to say to women out there that are struggling, having loss after loss, or struggling with the mental loss each month of a disappointment, which messes with their head? Like, as somebody who has successfully gone through it, and so the pregnancy was when you were 42 or 43?
So I ended up having her at 43. No, 42. Sorry. Yeah, I had her at, because I'm 47 now.
Right.
So 43.
Okay.
Yeah, like I got pregnant at 42, but like I had her like 2 months before my 40. Like, she came in September, and I turned 43 in July. So
okay.
Yeah, so I was 43. Popping out this baby like with no drugs or anything, like,
and no in vitro, no hormones.
I didn't do any of it.
Yeah. So what would you like to leave our listeners with as they hear the final bit of this conversation?
There's a power within each of us, and just in our society and as women, I think we're just so separated from it. But it's an opportunity to really dig deep and look within and stand your ground and your power as a woman, as a mother. If you know that you're meant to be a mother, if you feel in your heart that you are meant to be a mother, then there's nothing else to do. All the rest of it is just an appearance. It's an appearance, and it's the hardest thing to do, to think truth in the face of all of these appearances, but just really, really just do your best. And even there's a part of you that's always going to be afraid. There's a part of you that has all of these things. Just realize that's a part of you. That is not who you are. You are that strength. You are that power. And you can bring this child through you. Just stand in that.
Or to bring it to you if it ends up that it's via adoption or surrogacy.
And that's another thing too. Like, sometimes things come in a way and that you don't think it's the best way, but we don't know. Like, we are co-creators. We are co-creators. We are co-creators. So sometimes maybe that has to be an adoption. Sometimes there's a soul that's just waiting to come through, and like, it's coming through another person, but you're going to go and you're going to save that person's life. You're going to make such a difference in that person's life, but just standing in the knowledge of who you are, and in that strength, and doing whatever you need to do. Feel in your body, feel your emotions. Feel them, let them pass through, and keep your mind on, I am strong, I am powerful.
Yeah, and hearing that in an environment of as much stillness as you can create,
exactly.
Right? Like, dial down the external noise of how hard it is, how scary, how expensive, how long it's taken, how frustrating. Just like, that's going on. You can always step into that pool, but if you can turn that volume down to let your own voice be louder, that's saying, I saw it, or I believe that it will happen, and I just don't get to know how.
Yeah. And don't deny the fear. When it comes up, don't try to push it away. Don't think, because that's a whole other thing. I'm strong. It's weak. Like, no. Allow those fears to come. Just look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Stand in the stillness and relax and lean into it
Mm-hmm.
and watch it go through.
Yeah.
Watch it pass through.
Right. Because it's a feeling and it's going to be fleeting,
Mm-hmm.
and try not to fight with it.
Yeah.
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 Such good, juicy wisdom. Well, I sure hope, that we get our eggs back
Yes,
at that store,
Yeah.
and that we stay in touch.
Yes.
And continue our new friendship. And it's like wise women meeting up, and I love it. And I can't thank you enough for coming here and sharing this.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the
got it.
opportunity.
It's gonna help people, and you don't even know who or how or when, but it's a generous share. It's an amazing story. Thank you, Emerson.
Yes, thank you, Emerson.
for being quiet and hearing and telling.
Yeah.
It's very reassuring. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.